uses for Higazian. Okay, I want you to tell me about...
Speak as loud as you, or speak a little bit louder.
Louder. John, we've come all the way from New York City to see you. We're just so pleased we could be here with you and Inga and having a wonderful quiche lunch and a homemade tart that you made,
The crust.
the crust. You have your crust. But I was telling Matthew about how you were convinced to come to Higazian.
Well, you know, Joyce, when they were looking for someone to become the new president of Higazian College, which was going to be set up in Beirut, someone, I think, Harry Baluchjan,
Oh, yeah.
from the same church your parents attended, told them that he had an Armenian teacher at Lafayette, and that he'd like to invite this Armenian fellow over to preach at the Armenian Martyrs Church in Philadelphia.
Oh.
And so I met your parents there, and then they arranged with the Mehagians in Arizona to come and see me and my wife here in the United States. We were then living in Easton, Pennsylvania. It was in the middle 50s, 1955. And I went with the two couples, Stephen and Serpoli Philibosian, and Mary and Stephen Mahagian. We went to the Lafayette campus, and I was walking with your mother, Serpoli, and I can still hear her high heels clicking on the sidewalk in the campus at the college. And she said, in the midst of our chat, she said, "Don't let them pull the wool over your eyes." Pull the wool over my eyes. I didn't know these people, you know. I didn't know there was any wool to be pulled over eyes. And it wasn't long before your father, Stephen, brought up the question of whether I would have any interest at all in going to Beirut, Lebanon, to help in the establishing of a college there. And of course, I knew nothing about Beirut. I knew nothing about the Armenian community. But I said I would be interested. Yes, I had two sides of an interest. I had an interest with two facets, I should say. On the one hand, I had this adventuresome spirit. I wanted to go to Beirut and see what life was like there. And I also had a strong sense of mission, in the Christian sense of the word, to go there and perhaps set up something that would have an influence toward nurturing and growing a faith in young people in that part of the world. And so the talk then went from there to money, salary, and so on. And your father wanted to know how much I was earning. And this was 55. I was earning totally, from guest speaking, teaching at Lafayette, and stated supply pastor in Bloomsbury. I was making an income of about $12,000 a year. Oh, yes, your father said, well, you know, a Lebanese pound has the same buying power as a dollar. So perhaps 12,000 Lebanese pounds would enable you to live properly there in Beirut. So we could give you a salary of 12,000 Lebanese pounds. Now, of course, what I didn't realize was that the exchange rate was 3 to 1, and that $1 would buy you 3 Lebanese pounds. So I was getting cut down 2/3 to agree to go there. And after all this talking was over and the folks had left and I was thinking about it, I thought, well, I think maybe I can see now where this wool over the eyes originated.
Oh, that's so funny.
But it was really very interesting. It was really a fascinating experience.
It was a pilgrimage for you,
Yeah.
and then you took that ship to a strange land with your wife
And the
and
ship,
two
you know what the
two-year-old.
ship was?
No,
The Muhammad Ali El Kabir. It
no.
was an Egyptian mail line ship.
Oh my gosh.
And it took us to Alexandria, Egypt. And then we had to cart all of our belongings to the Malik Fuad, a smaller ship to go from Alexandria to Beirut.
Oh my
One
God.
overnight.
I never knew that.
And but it was very exciting and
And you had a wife who was able to join you.
well, my wife,
Full-
you know, had been in a terrible automobile accident and was very seriously injured, had facial scarring, and
She was beautiful. We heard she was a
yes,
beautiful lady.
she was a very, very beautiful spirit
Yeah.
too. And
So when you
she
arrived,
fit right in.
yeah.
She
She
went
had the
along.
mission spirit as well.
Yes, she did.
And I know that those in California heard you for the first time, and that was the genesis of the Hagazian Auxiliary,
Yes.
because Virginia Henrican had heard you
I think that
And
was at
she's-
Mount Herman.
at Mount Herman, and she said we must join or began this wonderful ministry at the Hagazian
Mhm.
College. And she was marshaling young people and became very successful, all because of you.
Well, the Women's
And you're-
Auxiliary has been a tremendous success.
Raised $1 million
Yes.
anyway, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So when you got to Beirut, they took you quickly to a mountaintop somewhere.
Yes, that was very interesting. As we came into the port of Beirut, there were three men down below. We were on the railing of the ship and looking down below to the pier. And these men were calling Markarian. And at first I didn't get it because my name has always been Markarian. Markarian. And finally I realized they were calling me. And it was Badvili Kerlopian, Badvili Aharonian,
Oh,
and Dr. Krikorian.
oh my gosh.
They met me. We went, our baggage, which consisted of 17 pieces, got mixed up with a family named Rue, who were with the United Nations. Beth Rue was Harry Dorman's sister,
Oh,
and the Dorman family had a long history
yes.
of activity in the church and in education in the Middle East. So our baggage was not examined at all. It was just piled on the same truck as the Dormans and whisked away. Now it was whisked away to a sixth-floor apartment on Rue Maziati, just at the back of the college. And it was, I'll bet it must have been 100 degrees in the shade, hot. And we deposited everything on the living room floor of this boiling hot apartment. And then took package after package of stuff we had unpacked to use on the trip. And went down to get what they called a service. Service being a Mercedes 190 of ancient vintage, which would run a route until it was full and then go downtown. So we all piled into one of these things and went down to the most, how would I say, chaotic activity you can possibly imagine. Little boys trying to grab our luggage and take it anywhere for us, you know. And finally, we got a service, one of those Mercedes, to go up into the mountains to a Christian conference center. And we were taken in the car, and while we were going, I had Joanne, 5 years old, on my lap, I break out into a serious nosebleed en route to the summer conference center. Well, to make a long story short, they took us to a room that had a dirt floor and 3 cots with mosquito netting coming down from the ceiling over each cot. And I thought, what have I done to my family? But I looked out through the window and saw the beautiful valley out there and thought, oh, what a magnificent place. And everything turned out fine.
And the history is you took that flag, ran with it, and developed a fantastic university. And
It
25
has
years
developed
you
so
were there.
well. And the present president
Yeah, he's
has
remarkable.
been so especially right for that thing.
Absolutely, so creative.
Wonderful. And we just hope very much that this will continue.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, John, that's wonderful.
Thank you, Joyce, for
Thank
all
you.
your family's
Oh,
done for the
can
school
you
and for
imagine? Yeah.
us as a family.
You have done
Appreciate it
for
very
the
much.
school and
Matthew?
For us too.
Did you get it, Matthew?
My father was
Please don't even
always
think
on the
of
phone
it.
with him or telling him
No, don't.
Don't let them
really
serve
don't
them
think
steak.
you could pick anything less.
in the commissary.
Oh, Richard
Yeah,
Varnon,
he
your
told that
father
they
came.
sold them
They
steak.
said, no, they said
Well, you know,
they're
I was
feeding him
thinking
like the
of-
Waldorf Astoria.
So I believe we could live.
$8,000 a year.
Well, you know,
Oh, gosh.
we made a very
And I have
special
shows
effort
here, so
to have
I've
shish
got it
kebab and
there.
Oh,
a very
since
nice
they were
meal
there.
for Richard Varnon and your father because they were
Oh.
dignitaries.